Show you my new and improved spaghetti diagram. Start with a problem, and how about the first thing you do is discover who cares and why. What if you did that before you actually even did a lit review? What if you say, well, who cares about that problem? Who actually does care? And go and find these people and talk to them and say, why is this so hard? Why is this a problem? What have you tried to solve it? Why can't you solve it already? Why can't you solve that problem now? Why do we need to have 3 years of research? And by doing that, what that's going to give you is insight and empathy, not a discovery. It's going to give you insight and empathy into the problem. And what that's going to do is that's now going to frame up the way that you do research. And it's also going to help you understand that you probably had the wrong understanding of the problem. Your assumptions around the problem were probably wrong. You thought these people wanted this program to be cheaper. Yeah, and we had some IMB researchers a long time ago that had developed a pain therapeutic. They were working with venomous snakes and spiders, and they'd found that they could create a drug that could improve pain management. And so they created this and they did a lot of work on it, and they presented to industry and they said, well, we've already got a drug that treats that pain. And they said, but this is 100 times more potent. So we've already got a drug that treats that pain. Like, you know, we only put 1 milligram in a 1,000 milligram tablet anyway. So all you're doing is saving us, you know, a little bit of weight in the thing, but you don't give us a new market, a new product. You don't help us get any new customers. It's just a bit better. And that's not worth spending $1 billion to actually take it to market. And so ultimately, if you'd spent some time working out, well, is there really a problem? And why is it unresolved? Why are people unsatisfied with the current solutions? That gives you insight and empathy into the problem and helps you work out what you should do next. Yeah.
So it means that it's discovery. In my thinking previously, I'm thinking that the problem means that someone have the problem. In this thing, you means that we have to discover who cares about the problem, or people who have the problem.
Yeah, great question. You've got to work out who cares about the problem, but you've also got to work out, is that actually the problem? Because quite often what sort of surfaces as a problem is actually not a problem. It's just a symptom of a problem. You know, so what's the problem with kids getting in trouble with police? Is that a problem of discipline? Is it a problem of the education system? Or is it a problem of dysfunctional families? Is it a problem with the self-confidence of the young children who actually have had abuse in their lives? Like, so if we're trying to solve the wrong problem, we might come up with a solution, but it's actually not going to be useful because it's the wrong problem. And so a lot of times, particularly in research, and startups and entrepreneurs make the same mistake, is they solve a problem, but they didn't spend enough time making sure it was the right problem to solve. That make sense?
I'm still don't get the who cares. Is it mean that the who here is the people with the problem, or the people that, I mean, not necessarily the people that have the problem, but the one who cares?
Yeah, it actually, I mean, it's a good question, but ultimately what you're trying to do is you're not just trying to find one person.
Yes.
Or one single group of people.
Yeah.
You're trying to understand the ecosystem that problem involves in. So with this education system that the researchers worked on, she was assuming that she was trying to help children that not get in trouble with the police. And so she developed a program for school teachers. And because she thought the school teachers could deliver this program to the kids that are in high school. But ultimately, the school kids need the problem. The teachers want to solve those problems. They just don't have time. And so after 10 years of trying to do that, I had some of my MBA students work with them on that project and said, why didn't you talk to the parents? The school teachers care about kids getting in trouble with the police. The parents care more, a lot more. How much money would a parent get? I'm a parent. I had a kid who got in trouble with the police, got in trouble doing drugs and all that sort of stuff. I would have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to try and help my kid not get in trouble with the police. A school teacher might think, it'd be really great, but they're not going to spend $1,000. They're not going to walk over broken glass to try and help my son who's got a drug problem. They've got 30 kids they've got to look after. I only had 2, and one of them was off the rails. And so they were solving the wrong problem with the wrong who. You understand? And so ultimately, all of your assumptions are almost always going to be all wrong until you've actually started to understand what is actually the problem and who is actually experiencing the problem and who actually cares the most. Lots of people care about kids that are getting in trouble. The local council cares, education department cares, the police care, but who cares the most and who cares so much they want to partner with you to co-create a solution? Does that make sense? Yes. So if we start this way with the problem and then work out with discovering who cares and why, that gives us insight and empathy. Once you've gone through that top loop a few times, and then you can actually co-research a solution. You can actually do research with them, not for them, with them. And we co-research, and that will help you understand what is the unmet need, what is actually really the unmet need. And then we can co-develop a product. So again, you're doing it with, not for. This is really a different paradigm for research. Because research is, I'm here at the Institute for Molecular Bioscience, I'm here at the Sustainable Minerals Institute, we do research here, we do all this work, and then we go and we talk to industry about it. So that's really cool, really interesting. But I don't know how we make that work. It's too expensive, or it's not fast enough, or it doesn't solve the right problem. And so if you're actually co-research, co-discovering, co-researching, co-developing, and then co-creating value with your stakeholders, not for them, that results in impact at scale. And the evidence says that it has a much higher rate of success if you do it this way than if you do it the other way. And so it depends. And in reality, what your supervisors are telling you, often many of you that are online as well, is they just want you to get your PhD finished. I mean, I get it. They want you to write the papers and they want you to finish. I absolutely get that. Don't get distracted with all these other things. Just shut up and write. You know, I understand that. But ultimately, you've got a lifetime in front of you about working out, well, what am I going to do with this research, this PhD that I've got? You know, you've become really good at solving technical problems, but no, you're not good at solving problems that anyone cares about. So I guess my argument to you is that I can do this. I don't have a PhD, so I don't have any vested interest. I can say, well, what if you try and do as much as you can and do both at the same time? Try and work out how to solve the technical problem you write a paper about and solve the actual problem that humans care about and get some impact out of that. Because my experience is most of you guys want to do that. That's why you're here, because you want to create impact. And once you do this impact at scale, you realize, well, actually, there's probably a whole lot more problems that I can solve. Because now I've got a lot more knowledge about the situation, and now I can actually develop more problems and create more solutions. All of this is about collaborating with stakeholders, or what I call the who's. How do you work with the right who's to solve problems that people care about? And if you do this really well, this is the thing that some really smart researchers have worked out. All of these steps still result in a publication. Everything, and lots of different publications, even some multidisciplinary publications. So if you get it right, you can do both. Otherwise, you end up with just that far right-hand corner, which might be probably the most productive thing to do. I don't disagree with that. If you want to get your PhD as quickly as possible, just shut up and write. Do the research, write the papers. But what I'm suggesting to you is that might get you your PhD sooner, but it may rob you of the most important skill that humans need, which is how do we solve complex problems.